And we're back for what could potentially be our last game of the day. Dignitas taking a loss. The hands of Team Liquid find themselves here in the lower bracket, but they came out firing, and they came out firing fast in game one of this lower bracket championship, or excuse me, lower bracket final, probably the more appropriate nomenclature. But at any rate, Dignitas looked damn good, hung a sub-20-minute loss on RoX.KIS and almost whitewashed them, came very, very close to hanging a big fat goose egg on their final kill total. RoX did manage to get on the board towards the end, but by then it was all over but the crying as Dignitas quickly steamrolled their way to yet another teamfight win, and that prompted the early GG from RoX.KIS. So, Dignitas looking to close out the series here with a win in Game 2. RoX.KIS, though, they just found themselves eliminated from the international qualifiers, hoping to avoid that fate here in the Curse Invitational. Once again, I'm EC, joined by Merlini for the broadcast. And yeah, I mean, you and I talked about it. We've talked about it almost every time we've broadcasted Dignitas together. It's just a calling card of Dignitas' play style. They like to be the aggressors. They tend to be a lot more comfortable whenever they can control the pace of the game through aggression, and they were able to put that concept to the test in a very successful way in Game 1.
Yep, and RoX.KIS lineup just didn't really seem to mesh together at all. Nothing was really happening around the map, and hopefully they have it a little bit more put together this time. So, first pick, passing up the Lifestealer, a little bit unusual. I did not see that one coming, in favor of Nyx. Nyx, again, a hero that has recently risen back to first pick material, and I'm surprised to see him taken so early. Regardless, looks like Nyx, Nature's Prophet, and Shadow Demon will be the leading three for RoX.KIS. They're actually going for a Shadow Demon instead of Bane, which is very interesting to note. And on the side of Team Dignitas, we see Lifestealer and Rubik. Again, both teams just, screw it, we don't need Magnus. The hero's too weak in lane, whatever. Whatever it may be, Magnus not picked, and I like Shadow Demon more than Bane, because if he gets a rage off in, if you're playing from behind, I think that Shadow Demon is much better suited, because Bane's better, I think, at being an aggressor, just because you really need to jump on them to get the Fiend's Grip before the rage, and Feeble early, again, before the rage, and just sleep set up for whatever combo you have following up, whether it be vacuum to a wall, whether it be call down. Just all those spells just really require a lot of setup, and if you're just constantly running away, what are you going to do once Lifestealer's already rage and you're like running for your lives? I think Shadow Demon, again, just much better suited. You can just purge, run away, disrupt, run away, and I mean, he does still serve that role of the anti-Nyx, the defensive disruption, the demonic purge, all those really good spells to handle him. I think he's actually my hero choice as opposed to Bane when dealing with a Lifestealer.
Totally agree with you, and I've been on the Shadow Demon train for quite some time. I feel like, I mean, and when you look at the statistics, especially with the release of the compendiums, there's been a lot of statistical analysis so far as most common first bloods, most common picked, and all this. Shadow Demon's atop almost every damn category, and if he's not number one, he's almost always in the top 5, including deaths, just because he is picked so often and he is a bit susceptible to some early DPS. Not the tankiest hero, to say the least, but you've really just hit the nail on the head. The way that he can deal, not just with the Lifestealer, but, I mean, there are a lot of creative ways you can put his spells to use. I mean, defensive disruptions, it works really well to counter the open wounds, as you had said. The fact that you can then throw out the Demonic Purge. Demonic Purge goes through magic immunity, so Lifestealer are able to rage out of it, or even to avoid it by a rage. So it's just a nice way to deal with that hero. But any kind of aggression, especially when you have a hero you're going to want to keep alive for a longer time, or you have a hero that's almost always going to be a big target. You know, a hero like a Prophet who, once he begins to build himself up, once he gets some items, Nature's Prophets do tend to be targeted down quickly because they tend to either build very high-value items like Scythe of Ice or Orchid, or they end up building something like a Shadow Blade, then some more right-click as the game goes later. You just want to take them out because he doesn't have a dedicated stun. He has no inherent escape mechanism. Even with the Shadow Blade, hopefully by the time you reach that stage of the game, you're going to have some kind of detection. And Shadow Demon could just extend the life of a hero like a Prophet, or like a carry like a Gyrocopter. We're not going to be seeing him as he has been banned out. But just one of the most versatile heroes in the entire game that really does do so much and do it so well against so many different lineups. So the banning phase has continued. We can see Dignitas not wanting to give away any carry potential to RoX.KIS, taking out Gyro and the Alchemist. On the other side, RoX taking out the mids. They do ban the Mag, Puck, and Storm Spirit banned out as well. Queen of Pain is going to be available. TA, a hero that Dignitas really loves to run, and I've seen them run a lot with lineups like this. Having the Keeper of the Light means they have that global mobility. And they're going to be able to bounce heroes to and fro using Keeper of the Light's ultimate and his ability to teleport heroes to him. But speaking of global presence, RoX has got quite a bit with the Prophet and the Tinker.
Yeah, I like this lineup a lot more. They have the options to play aggressively. The problem with first pick Gyrocopter that we see RoX.KIS take a lot is that you just have to like babysit him so much. You can't leave him alone unless he is some like really ridiculously easy matchup in the safe lane, which almost never happens because people know that you can just lifestealer and just own him in lane. So when they first pick up the Gyrocopter, it's like, okay, from the get-go, at the very first pick, you have to play defensive as soon as they have the lifestealer pick. And, you know, I just don't really like starting off on that foot. But this time, we have a lot more aggression from them. We have Nyx Assassin, Shadow Demon, both very good aggressors, as well as being able to play defensive as supports is pretty important too. And they have Nature's Prophet, pretty solid offlaner, as well as a global presence, and then Tinker, a hero that we don't see picked up that often anymore, but still pretty, very, very good hero. And again, synergized very well with the global presence from Nature's Prophet, and being able to laser lifesteal is always good. Having that Martial Machines to deal with him during Rage is always good, and he's pretty good late game. Looks like there will be only Tinker and Nature's Prophet for late game from RoX.KIS. So I like how they abandoned their strategy. They know, okay, that didn't work last game. We're going to try something different and just try and throw Team Dignitas out of their element because they beat them at the game we tried to play last game. And part about being a good team is being able to incorporate and use different strategies. So I like this complete shift of strategy from them going for 5 relatively decent early mid-game heroes, not relying really too much on late game, because if you don't have a good early mid, you're not even going to last late, as we saw last game. So putting all their eggs into the early mid and Tinker late, I guess. So to round out Team Dignitas' lineup, we see Juggernaut and Queen of Pain. So it looks like a lot of push potential from them.
Yeah, looking at Dignitas' lineup, I'm not going to lie. I worry a lot for RoX.KIS just because they do not have the ability to tank through damage with their core heroes. Tinker, I mean, Tinker's great. I mean, you just hit all the high points. The global presence between him and Prophet, Clockwork's ability to hook shot and take Lifestealer out of the fight, at least for a little while. They have all the tools, but when you look at Keeper of the Light with Illuminate, that's a lot of damage. Queen of Pain, a lot of damage. Juggernaut, if he has a good start and has good levels, a lot of damage he can pour out. So, you know, when I look at Dignitas' lineup, as you mentioned, they have so much push potential behind the Keeper. Juggernaut with the Healing Ward and just the way his entire kit happens to work. They're going to be forced into 5-on-5 fights, and when you look at Dignitas and the way they can engage it, when they commit, the amount of magic damage they're going to be able to output, and you can't even forget things like Fade Bolt. Fade Bolt's damage is not negligible whenever you talk about what he can do if he focuses it up. He's going to be able to contribute to that, and that contributes to push potential as well. So RoX.KIS is going to be relying a lot on March of the Machines. Really, this entire lineup is going to be revolving around Tinker, his positioning, his ability to be where he needs to be, and to keep this game going a little bit longer. Don't allow Dignitas to find their stride, and instead use March to keep those towers up, buy yourself some time, and find your farm once you get your boots of travel up and operational. So not going to run through the lineups yet, as it does seem like we've got a pack of heroes on both squads moving towards the same piece of real estate. That's going to be the Radiant side jungle. Wei-Tsu sticking his chin out here in front for Dignitas. Hasn't put a point in yet on the, Blade Fury is skilled by Aoi already, and of course Illuminate taken by Fog first off. Now, Dignitas, if they do end up committing to this and deciding to go ahead and offensively tri-lane, which at this point, yeah, they've committed, they've dropped their ward, they're going to stick here. This is a little chancy from them, but again, where they've got Carapace from the Nyx Assassin. Looks like he's going to be actually, one would think.
Nyx solo middle.
Yeah, I was going to say solo, heading to mid.
He got pulled too. Look at his items. I always say Pro Man Shield. Actually, 4-man Shield, Iron Branch, and 2 regen pulled by Vanscore. So I guess we can run through the lineups now that it looks like no action will be happening just yet.
Taking a look at RoX.KIS, we're going to have Tinker, handled by BZZ. He's going to be farming down in the solo safe lane. Dread going to be playing on our Clockwork this time around. Solo, as mentioned, very appropriately goes solo mid on this Nyx Assassin. Going to be matching wits with the Queen of Pain, and a matchup we'll be keeping our eye on as the match progresses. We're going to see Vanscore playing on our Shadow Demon and Nature's Prophet. Going to be played by, cannot remember his name because...
Yol
going to be handling our Prophet here in the defensive tri-lane. Now, with, and again, this is just going to be so hard for Tinker. I mean, actually got a real nice last hit there, but he should be struggling a lot right now. He's just not going to have that much support from the Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon can help him out, but 1 Illuminate, 1 good Telekinesis, Blade Fury, there's just so much. The ability for them to even dive very early on, just going to be such a gigantic liability.
Yep, but if he's can get like level 3, level 4 without dying, then I think he'll be in a pretty good position. He can just march and then just run back into tower. You can't tower dive under march that early. You will just get dominated. Regardless, on the other side we have Way Too Sexy on the support Rubik as part of the triple lane. Fogged on Keeper and Aoi as Juggernaut will make up the rest of that triple lane. In solo mid we have Sneaking Dota 2, hashtag the King on Queen of Pain. And we see Universe on top. He's actually not running under the LeBron James tag, which is a little bit unusual, but he's just soloing versus Dread, getting his mana burned by Cog. That looks like fun.
2 minutes in, we can already see the lanes beginning to take shape. Tinker's actually doing a much better job here than I thought he would. And we did see some jungle CS stolen by Dignitas just by how strong. I mean, obviously, at 3 versus 2, they're not going to be super scared to come into the jungle. Prophet early on just can't contribute all that much. And he is just being a flat-out jungle Prophet so far. We'll see what he's going to build towards. He's actually got just a handful of Iron Branches and some Clarities, so probably looking...
Oh, we see TP on top lane?
Yep, we're going to see Universe dropping down... or dying, basically, and we're going to see the return kill. So the cogs went down, ends up being a 1-for-1 exchange. 2 minutes in, 2 kills on the board.
This is not bad for RoX.KIS, so I like the position they're in. They're getting levels on Tinker, they're getting farm on him, they're getting levels on Clockwork, and levels on Nyx Assassin. Oh, I don't want to miss the skill on bottom.
Blade Fury doing good damage, we're going to see, and this is what I expected a bit more of. I mean, yeah, March is annoying, but even already, just the pure amount of damage they can output. With telekinesis there to start fights and one well-placed Illuminate. And, you know, something that's really worth mentioning, especially for Juggernaut, mana, a big problem for him, not a big problem when you've got a Keeper of the Light-In lane with you. So the ability of Chakra Magic that will allow him to spam Blade Fury just makes it all that much more dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I thought things were going good for them, but you really can't be up that far in a 3v2 lane. I don't think there was a defensive disrupt, but regardless, I still think BZZ would have died. But it looks like he has opted for early boost. These creeps are going to get stolen.
Prophet in trouble in top. We're going to see the open wounds leading things off. Little right click. There's the Fade Bolt, just making sure it takes place. Dread actually stuck his nose down there. He will drop the cogs just to make Dignitas take the long road around. But here in mid, Solo actually doing quite a good job against Sneaking. Sneaking has gone... Oh, he's actually going to end up dead here. Should end up dead. Bottling between, and Solo took a lot of damage. Now he's going to be able to blink and go for a return kill. And Solo just couldn't attack fast enough. Very, very calm and patient reaction out of Sneaking. Now we're going to see another death at bottom. March of the Machine's doing good damage. Prophet's there, able to help make it a 2-for-2 exchange net, as the Shadow Demon was traded for the Keeper of the Light as well as the Juggernaut. So, at the very least, RoX.KIS not waiting 15 minutes to get on the board for the first time.
You're cutting out for me.
Anyway, Dread is certainly sucking up some experience here. He's level 4. We'll take a look at Universe, almost a full level ahead. Queen of Pain finds herself a very fortuitous rune, and... Yep, uses it to go ahead and get herself back into shape. Hopefully everything's okay now. 5-3. And Dignitas already off to another good start. Take a look at the CS. Queen of Pain sits atop at 19. However, I'm really surprised that Tinker's able to do as well as he is. The pressure not going quite as well as I think Dignitas would have hoped.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Solo that he died there. Now he's one full level behind Solo, and he's forced into defensive position. Usually you can just mana burn Queen of Pain until she has no mana to play aggressively at all, and you can just control her because she's forced to sit in mid and is constantly bottle crow. She can't TP and wreak havoc in the other lanes as we see Queen of Pains do very, very often, but now that he's fallen behind, it's just really hard to get that foothold that he needs. Oh, he did have mana for Blink! He had 57 mana, and it looks like he will get a kill on that.
So, Queen of Pain ends up dying in mid. Actually had the camera on bottom because it looked like Dignitas was going to try to dive the Tinker, but BZZ able to make it back to safety just in time. Level 3 on the Shadow Demon, so he's at least got his full repertoire. Now we're going to have a Telekinesis on Vance 4. He's dropped into the trees. There's an Illuminate, but the Illuminate didn't connect. So Aoi has to back out as March of the Machine's just too potent at this stage of the game, and stays pretty potent given he is focusing it. He's got 3 points into and now opting to skip rearm. No surprise there. Dread taking a bit of damage from Universe. Universe now with his phase going to be able to play a bit more aggressive than he had before. 4-5 though. RoX.KIS keeping this one close.
Yeah, wow, I thought that this mid lane was just lost, but Snaking playing a little bit too aggressively when he doesn't have enough mana. And looks like, oh, they really want a 6-minute rune, but solo ops do not contest it, and Snaking will pick up an illusion rune on top lane. So early game, yeah, again, much better than the last game, but keep in mind that they did pick 5 relatively decent early game heroes as opposed to like a really farm intensive hero like Gyrocopter. Sure, Tinker's farm intensive, but all he really needs is BOTs, and then he's just good to go. And them being able to survive in this AAA and find levels and a little bit of farm is, I think, a big win for RoX.KIS, especially since Virion's well on his way to Midas. He already has his Midas, so he's looking pretty good too. He did get that early kill on Nake's up top, and as well as dying once, but still pretty good shape for him. 400 gold, Midas, 7 minutes in. That's exactly where you want to be with Nature's Prophet.
You can see the jungle's been cleared out by Tinker. That's where he's making up a lot of ground, even though he does have to play a bit more cautiously than he certainly would like to in this lane. Effectively having himself or his supports stack those hard camps and using March of the Machines to melt them down. So doing a decent job hanging in. We can see he's already got up his brown boots, so he's not super far away from finishing up his boots of travel. Very important item for him for obvious reasons. In the meantime, the Lifestealer, not hurting for farm either. He's at 35, should be making his way towards an armlet, one would imagine. Queen of Pain, now showing her face, going to go ahead and let the illusion tank the towers. So Dignitas trying to make something happen for themselves here, but so far unable to find exactly what they're looking for. Just very cautious, very effective play out of RoX.KIS to never get too far out. They had that one silly death early, but since then they've been able to play right on that fine line.
Yeah, and now is about the time for Solo to take control of the map. He is level 8. He does almost have his arcane boost, but once he gets his arcane boost, I fully expect him to make use out of that terrible combo. Vendetta, Impale Manbird, that's death. Even for a hero like Queen of Pain, it's going to be pretty difficult for him to survive. So they can start controlling this map. Dignitas trying to put a lot of pressure on bottom, but what can you do? Safe lane position with March, level 7 on Tinker. I mean, you can't really dive him at this point, especially without level 6 on Juggernaut. So CTP rotation from middle.
Wave 2 shows up. Hook's going to be off the mark. Dread shooting just a smidge south. Wave 2's got his eye on him. Let's see. There was the telekinesis. And actually pulled him back. A little bit of miscommunication there. Didn't throw him right into the Illuminate. Don't know if they could have killed him in either case, either way. We're 8.5 minutes in. We got 9 kills on the board. How about we take our first look at the gold graph? Very close game. 500 gold to the advantage of RoX.KIS right now. The experience, though, a little bit more in their favor. Talking about 2,000. So Dignitas with a lot of push potential, a lot of early fight potential. They got to make sure they don't wind up in the situation that RoX.KIS found themselves in, where the map control and pace of the game is dictated by the other team. And you just wind up with a squad, especially one that should be as potent as this one should in the mid game. But you can wind up with the team feeling very ineffective just because you feel like the pace of the game is completely out of your hands.
Yeah, Way 2 desperately trying to get 6 right now, and I'm surprised Solo just didn't straight up just kill him right there. I guess he suspected that he might have sentries, but once Way 2 gets level 6, it'll be a lot easier for Dignitas, and it looks like BZZ.
So, wow, actually disrupted out of that, delaying the inevitable, but it gave time. Oh no, he actually survived! Oh. So they're unable to get the kill. Big mistake there on the side of Dignitas. Clutch disruption, and that's exactly what we were both harping about. Hang on, there's an impale, and yep, we're going to see Queen of Pain finished off. Another kill goes the way of RoX.KIS, so Dignitas ends up feeding a kill when they should have had at least 2 in their back pocket, including a kill on the Tinker. But we saw right there everything you and I were harping about why the Shadow Demon is such a strong pick in a variety of situations. Bailed out Tinker and able to keep him alive through all of that. Phenomenal play coming out of the supports of RoX.KIS.
Yeah, and that laser and a flask, really nice for him to have 2 flasks. That just really paid off for them. And turning that around, getting a Queen of Pain kill when your Tinker should have died and Queen of Pain should have lived, that's a huge turn. And now they're going to be forced to play defensive. Tinker has his BOTs now. 10 minutes in against a triple lane with a Furion jungle that didn't really ever come to lane at all. That's really just superb play by them. And sure, he might die right now, but oh, no, he's actually not going to die.
Didn't have the ulti on call. Scream a little bit too short, so he does manage to make it away. 10.5 minutes in, and right now we haven't really seen a lot out of Solo. We saw him rotate once. He certainly got the kill on Queen of Pain, but I'm like you. I'm waiting for him, yeah, just to go nuts like we're about to see right here. He's got Impale and will pop the Carapace, but no follow-up. Wow, Furion ulti almost killed off Sneaking there.
Yeah, and I'm just really surprised that we haven't seen much more out of him later. This is like earlier. This is like really Nyx's time to shine when supports are still really, really weak, when Quap doesn't really have any items, and I thought what was happening. I thought nope, Universe was just infesting, but I mean, Solo could have I think a lot more kills right now, especially with his really aggressive play. Like Dignitas is trying to put a lot of pressure on Tinker, trying to go into their jungle, and Nyx just punishes that so heavily. Regardless, he does have his arcane boost up and running, and he's looking pretty good in terms of levels. Level looks like 9 right now, so 1 full level ahead of Snaking when his Snaking was 1 full level ahead of him before. Pretty good, nice recovery.
Taking a look at Alley, he's just about level 80. He will be engaged upon. There's the March, and a lot of damage being done. And we see right there just the power of Soul Catcher, March of the Machines, a little bit of rocket spam, running him completely out of lanes. So RoX.KIS will have the ability to begin pressuring this tower, trying to force a reaction out of Dignitas. Dignitas, in the meantime, way through at level 7. Now we're going to have an open wounds on Dread. There's the cog side of him. So Dread uses the hook just to stun him out, and now the TP reaction comes in. Here's Fury on, but he's going to be off the mark with the Sprout. Trying to sprout a magic immune target while he's in transit tends to result in a missed Sprout. That's exactly what we saw. Looks like they want to re-engage. Universe goes for it using the armlet toggle. That should be a kill. The Illuminate guarantees it is. Dread, very low health, needs to be careful. No mana leak for the Keeper of the Light, so he doesn't pursue it out. But a nice little trade there. Universe overextending. The clock got away, but they're able to kill off the Furion.
Oh, Solo!
Dire's middle tower
And Fogged will be cleaned up via Mana Burn. He actually managed to steal Mana Burn there. Not a bad spell at all to have. Universe is pursuing him, thinks better of it though. Decides not to chase all the way back to mid. Aoi has had a chance to farm up. He's got 1,000 gold in the bank. Now thinking about the way Aoi's going to build here, are you thinking something like drums, or are you thinking he might just even go up? They'll know right now he's going to finish his wand first. But after that, you thinking something like Shadow Blade even?
I think he needs drums right now. Just, again, you can't really just walk into March, and a lot of time he's gonna just have difficulty just pulling off his spells. They have Carapace, they have Cogs that he has to deal with, so he needs a little bit more stats so he has enough mana. He has to deal with the Force of Nature from Nature's Prophet. He can't Omni-Slash easily. He has to deal with Defensive Disrupts and the Purge. I think he just needs more survivability. He can't really go damage at this point. If he goes Shadow Blade, they already have Sentry Wars, as we can see Oh wait, that's on the side of their team. Well, regardless, I don't think Shadow Blade will really do that much. It might give them like a nice Nake spawn, but they have Queen of Pain for that.
Right.
And again, he really needs more mana though. They have Mana Burn, they have Cogs, and Juggernaut stacking is actually very, very poor. And Magic Wand, even with a Caudal, is not going to be enough to sustain them. Regardless, looks like they will get a free tower on bottom. Snaking does have a Nyx inside of him.
Red going to be spotted out. Hasn't revealed himself. Now he will. There's the Infest out. And the immediate disruption. The rest of Dignitas is there. Dread will get his cogs down before he dies. March of the Machine really eating away at that support health pool. We're going to see a Sprout. The immediate eat out. Universe eats the laser. There's Chakra Magic. He's got the armlet to toggle. He also has Rage if he wants to spend it. Solo only has enough mana for Carapace. There's a Telekinesis that buys a little bit of time, and he managed to steal Teleport. Very handy spell to steal if you happen to be Rubik. So Dignitas, actually, there's a buyback on Aoi involved in that entire
really
exchange.
Unfortunate. The Nyx Assassin missed the Impale on the Unraged Lifestealer, and he was able to get away because of that. So unfortunate by Solo there. He does have a Blink Dagger, though. So he's looking good in terms of farm, but again, not as much impact as a mid-Nyx Assassin usually has, and just costing a couple kills there.
8-8, we're all knotted up on the kill board, but in terms of gold, we can see it's still a slight lead for RoX.KIS, 1,000, 2,000 experience. And at 14 minutes, neither of those are negligible, but at the same time, certainly not a gulf that cannot be overcome. If you're in the shoes, hang on, we're going to have an engagement. Once again, there's another good disruption. Van score, buying time and mass reaction, another missed Sprout, trying to sprout the magic immune target. Good hook! Comes through the trees and way too locked down. Another good impale, locks down Universe. They get one kill. Let's see if they can follow it up. In the meantime, we're going to see Aoi engage, going through the March of the Machine. Solo goes into Vendetta, and I just heard a Sonic Wave. Looks like that's enough to get at least one kill. In the meantime, there's the Infest to keep Universe alive, and now they're going to chase down the Nyx Assassin. So RoX.KIS, great reaction up, showing off the Blink Dagger, and unfortunately for him, Sneaking can blink a lot more frequently than he can. He has a Mana Burn and an Impale. He's going to be pursued out. There's the Scream to add another kill to the board. So Dignitas ends up losing one, but gaining 3, make it 11-9. And I'll tell you who's really played well is Vanscore. He's been there with his disruptions. Unfortunately, RoX.KIS able to really put the picture together once they landed.
Yeah, I think Vanscore's playing pretty nicely, but I mean, a couple missed sprouts already on Nature's Prophet and the missed impale. These missed spells, if they had gotten them, they could be in like a pretty good position to take Roshan right now, or at least take a T1. But instead, we see Dignitas just without that T1 on bottom. I don't think they can defend this unless they have a good position for March. But they can't just run in there like that. Regardless, looks like both teams are just hurtling up middle right now, and they have this early game lineup, but they just aren't executing a couple misspells, couple of like overextensions from them too. This like miss sprout forced them to run all the way over here, and then without the safety of the tower and the safety of creeps, Tinker just gets picked off by Omni Slash, and again, just being away from tower is not really good, especially when they had to use that defensive disruption already to save the Furion.
Universe going to go ahead and go straight for a Sanj and Yasha. Get up his, one would imagine anyway. Get up his movement speed, just making that much harder to deal with, that much easier for him to get in and out of fights. Solo is being pursued out. Way two. Oh, never mind. They're going to engage, and he gets the free kill, blowing the Rubik up. Let's see if he can make it away. There's an open wound. Here comes Shred. Cogs go down just in time. They're going to be able to walk away relatively unscathed, so nice teamwork. Queen of Pain, though, says, nope, never mind. I've got a Nyx inside. Dread eating a lot of that damage. Solo caught them both. Now we're going to have a Demonic Purge tossed out. Looks like that was on Owie. And they're continuing to try to do damage. Disruption on Vanscore only delays the inevitable. So Dignitas ends up losing the Rubik to the burst of Solo, raging through the Impale that time. But Solo's playing very effectively, too. I think we both were in agreement. He was a little quiet through the early game phase, but since then, he has been just an utter terror for Dignitas to deal with.
Yeah, but this Healing Ward just counters this mastery. They have Rocket Spam from Tinker, they have the Rocket Spam from Clockwork, they have like the Impale Mana Burn Spam from Nyx Assassin and the Wrath of Nature, but being able to top themselves off with the Healing Ward is very, very important. They pretty much just have mobile well with Chakra and Healing Ward, as well as Recall too, and not to mention the global teleportation pickup on the Rubik that we saw earlier. Regardless, Solo will pick up a Haste Rune on top. Chicken! Chicken!
Courier not going to be the target. He's going to go ahead and just blow Fogged up. Now he might pursue it. Nope, never mind. Now he spots him out. He's got a Haste Rune, so he should be able to make it away. In the meantime, Prophet TP's up, gets a Courier kill. Here the engagement as the Demonic Purge slows down Universe. He was retreating. So very good delegation of tasks there. One blowing up the Keeper, and Prophet correctly anticipating the flight path of the Courier, bringing down Captain Bamboo. He's grounded for at least 3 minutes, 12-11. And RoX.KIS in an utter slugfest. We can see the gold had actually dipped in favor of Dignitas for the first time all game, but following the last couple of engagements and that kill on the Courier, now 2,000 in favor of them once again. The experience, though, remains in favor of the North American squad.
And one thing about Nyx Assassin is that if you're against them as a Queen of Pain, you have to build defensive items. You can't go like a early Orchid sometimes, because you'll just get instantly bursted down by Nyx. So Queen of Pain is forced to go BKB, and it's pretty much the same thing with Puck sometimes too. If it's a relatively even matchup, then oftentimes you do have to get BKB just because that silence is just too much to deal with as Queen of Pain. So that's one thing going in favor of them. They won't have too much in terms of offensive items. They won't have a sheep anytime soon. We see an early gem on Fog. He's just tired of this Nyx Assassin. Just going, just kill him all the time. And we see a Ghost have to pick up on Nyx Assassin. So looks like he's tired, or he's tired of the Lifestealer.
Just heard a Sonic Wave spit. There it is. There's the blink. So Sneaking gets himself a kill. In the meantime, we're going to see a disruption on the Vanscore. He'll be cleaned up by the Rubik as he throws out the Fade Bolt. Cogs doing some damage to Universe. Universe has no mana for anything. Now, though, there's a Sprout. That one connects, and Way Too Sexy going to be the target. Shadowblade was the pickup on the Prophet. Owie, in the meantime, though, is able to bring down the Tier 1. Here comes the mass reaction. Sneaking's there, eats a hook, and the Impale right after. Wandered into the wrong neighborhood. There's the Omni Slash, though, and with nothing around, all the damage goes out. However, he can't Blade Fury afterwards. So he's going to end up dead. There's the Illuminate, but it's too little, too late. As RoX.KIS now, yes, another a kill from downtown. Mass Rockets, mass kills on the board. As RoX.KIS with the Rocket Flare and the Rocket Spam from Tinker. And wow.
Another miss of Hail.
Yep, Solo As much as we brag on him, he has had a couple of wide shanks, but as it stands, a very good turnaround. They lost their tower, so that any gold would have been mitigated a little bit, though. And the gold, yeah, basically stays 2,000 in their favor. The experience, though, has swung just about 3,000. But we are at the 20-minute mark, so that 3,000 experience becoming of less and less importance.
Yeah, nice buyback from BZZ there. And them losing that gem is a huge deal. Now they have to play defensive. They have to waste all this money on Sentry Wards, and they have to live in constant fear of this Nyx Assassin. He can kill Rubik straight up. He can kill Keeper of the Light straight up. He can almost kill Queen of Pain easily with the assistance of Wrath of Nature, and like their forces stick together all the time, and that just gonna open up the map for RoX.KIS to farm. Looks like Solo is hunting for blood again.
We can see Vanscore making his way down. We can see our Prophet acting as bait. There is a tower here, a very low tower, and must be just outside of deny range, and it is. And yeah, Solo's going to spot all this movement. They're going to engage, and he catches two. He's going to be able to blow up way two. There's a Shadow Strike. Carapace is up. There's a stun. Open Wounds is there. Fog's going to be very, very careful, though. Solo eating a lot of damage. He illuminates there to follow it up. Vanscore gets off. Up, hang on. There's a hook that connects. Didn't even see where it connected, actually. Now we're going to see the Sonic Wave finally used. The gem is dropped and should be picked up. Dread, in the meantime, will end up dropping as well. Buyback from Nyx Assassin, and the gem goes back into the inventory of Dignitas. 16-16. Very, very nice little sequence of events, and really Solo just jumped a little ahead of himself there. He engaged in a situation where he had to know he wasn't just going to get away for free.
Yeah, I thought he was just going to Vendetta Mana Burn, Impale, and just blink out, but he actually did not manage to blink out in time, and that just really put them in a compromising situation, especially with the Disrupt and the Impale on the same target, as well as a hook shot into the Shadow Demon, as opposed to on the Nyx. That just, I mean, you can't lose that gem. That gem's a pretty big deal for them. I'm actually surprised that he didn't drop it. It looks like it will be carried by a Lifestealer this time, instead of the Keeper of the Light. Looks like Aegis has expired without being used by Lifestealer. Another 4 minutes until Roshan.
Dignitas moving over towards their tier 2. The tier 1 did end up dropping. Again, the gold very relatively close, but still RoX.KIS maintaining a very impressive lead. They're at plus 3,000, the experience at plus 1,000. Big problem they're going to start to face, though, is this Lifestealer is going to begin to finally feel like a Lifestealer. He's got his Armlet, he's got his S and Y. And as we talked about with their draft, they have a lot of heroes who excel at doing a lot of things, but it's almost all mid-game oriented. The Nyx Assassin, as dominant as he has been, we can already feel Solo's ability to just take kills and then run away is beginning to wane a little bit. And Roshan back up in just a few minutes. It's going to be a very important fight. It's going to be 3 minutes out. Don't know that they can afford to give Dignitas another Roche.
We see a smoke coming in. A turning point for RoX.KIS will be when they get their big items on Tinker and Prophet. Prophet has an ultimate orb on him. He's only about 1,500, 1,600 gold away from his Scythe of Vice, and Tinker is actually pretty close to his Scythe of Vice too, if he decides to go for it. We see early Mystic Staff. It could be a Shiva's. I think it will be a Scythe of Vice, because they do have two heroes with magic immunity, with Lifestealer and Nyx, rather. I always get those confused.
24 minutes in, 16-16. We got a barn burner here in game number 2. RoX.KIS trails in this series, so they're fighting for their lives in the lower bracket finals. Win or go home for them. Winning team does advance and punch their ticket to the grand finals for their share of our $10,000 prize pool here at the Curse Invitational. And that's something that is worth mentioning. Both of these teams are going to end up finishing in the money, so at the very least, win or lose, they know they're not going home broke. Team Liquid awaits the winners in the grand finals, so looking forward to that. That'll be kicking off ostensibly at the same scheduled time we had today, which was 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time and 2200 Central European Time. We had a bit of a delay, couple of delays here. One was just by virtue of the TI qualifiers running late. We wanted to avoid overlap there as much as we could. Then, of course, there was my well-documented breakdown of systems. We were putting together our new studio here out in San Francisco. I had a part fail, and unfortunately, all we could do is scramble to get another casting rig set up. And I'm actually casting from, like, the common area right now. So if you hear a little bit of echo, that's exactly what you're hearing. So, but don't think I'm remiss in saying make sure you tune into the D2L's premiere coming up this Monday. Can't wait to get underway and show you all the things that we have in store for you looking ahead through D2L Season 3. And, of course, before that, don't forget to tune back in to catch the grand finals tomorrow. Merlini will not be here. I'll be here. Maybe I'll have a co-caster. Maybe I won't. Maybe I just want to fly solo. We'll have to wait and see. But tell you what, Merlini, we got a couple of minutes of downtime, so why don't you go ahead and plug yourself. Where can folks find more about you, brother?
Sure, you can find me streaming. I stream a lot, although I won't be streaming for the next couple of weeks just because I'll be involved in the TI3 Eastern qualifiers. But regardless, you can find me streaming usually at twitch.tv/MerliniDota, as well as Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all the same, /MerliniDota.
There you go, and especially if you're a newer player, if you're new to Dota and trying to find a guy you can learn from, Merlini's one of the best in the business for that. So make sure if you're new to Dota, or even if you've been around a bit but you just want to try and figure out, get inside the head of a former pro, Merlini, a guy you want to keep up with, at MerliniDota on all of your various social networks. You can find me on Twitter as well. I'm at AC, at AYESE. Try to stay active. Not going to lie, man, since I've landed here in Cali, I've been kind of running around like my hair's on fire. But, hang on, looks like we are ready to go. So we'll hold that story. No more story time with AC. Not a whole lot to tell. Just California's beautiful and I am busy. 24 minutes, 32 kills on the board. Very active game kill-wise. And looks like Dignitas wants to keep that trend in action. And Prophet will be spotted. There's the open wounds. He has a Shadow Blade, but they have the gem. Now there's a telekinesis. They'll clean him up. Mass TP reaction. Let's see if they can engage. Mana burn on sneaking. And Solo's just going to YOLO it right into him. Heard the Omni Slash go off. Owie is locked down for the moment. Now there's a hook. Catches Universe. Cogs do not catch him, though. He backed out now. Open wounds on Vanscourt. Demonic Purge slows him down in return. Great Sonic Wave. Caught 3. And Solo limping his way back to base. The rest... Oh, nice! Great blocking by the Treants. But no follow-up. At the very least, able to block them out. But yeah, that was one of those things where I think Prophet blocked him thinking his teammates were going to try to follow, but no one really in shape. So, either way, 17-16. A lot of damage, a lot of good plays, but only 1 kill drops. Looks like this fight's going to continue, though. As Dignitas continuing to rattle their saber here in mid, there's a TP from Solo. He's going to blink, look for a target, and caught 3! 3 with the impale. Carapace this up. Dread walked in and couldn't do much. Now Solo going to be isolated out. He goes under cover of Vendetta, but the Illuminate cleans him up. Dignitas now ready to counterpunch. Solo down for 60 seconds. And Solo with another great individual effort, unfortunately just did not have any follow-up from his teammates. In the meantime, though, Prophet split pushing the top lane. This tower should end up being denied. And no.
Oh.
Owie missing the deny opportunity. Either way, 18-16, so they lose the tower, but a couple of good kills in mid. And tell you what, man, RoX.KIS, they're playing well, but their synergy seems to be fraying a little bit.
Yeah, that was a very nice TP interrupt by Nixus as in there. That Blink Impale was just fantastic. Yep. But again, no follow-up. We had a Nature's Prophet buyback. He was trying to split push top, but really you just want to try and interrupt it as best you can and then just run away because they still have 5 people there, and you can't fight 4 on 5 in that sort of situation. But looks like Tinker managed to escape with his life.
26 minutes in, taking a look at the goal graph. 3,000 remains the difference. Still in favor of RoX.KIS, and the experience down near just about 2,500. So even though Dignitas is taking some fights and being able to get some things done, RoX.KIS is able to continue to farm well. Very important for especially a hero like the Tinker. And yeah, we can see not far at all now from that Scythe of Iso. Have his ultimate orb completed very, very soon. Very important item for him, especially in dealing with heroes like Queen of Pain, Lifestealer, so on and so forth. Dread. Looks like, yeah, he's already got his Staff of Wizardry. We'll see what he wants to do with that by the time all's said and done. Dignitas, though, already doing some damage to Roshan. They're going to have that healing ward to help make this a little bit easier.
Yeah, there is no rocket, though. They just use the rocket on middle, and I don't think they'll be able to see it. They have a gem, so they will be aware of any wards that RoX.KIS has in that area, and looks like they're just giving them to him for free. This is a very good place for RoX.KIS to fight. They have the T1 tower up in middle. That'll contribute a lot to Tinker's efficiency. They have Rocket to scout it out, and they have Shadow Poison to scout it, as well as Nature's Call, but it looks like Soul will be the only guy there, and he's forced to back off because his team is split up. But meanwhile, they get some damage on this T3 on top tower, and RoX.KIS is spreading Dignitas thin, putting pressure all around the map with their global presence.
This is really going to be key for them, and again, I think it all revolves around this Tinker. His ability to push and to counter push to... hang on, no damage done. And hang on, we're going to see Owie caught out. Here comes the TP in as well. Prophet actually cancels it out, and he blinked into the trees. They've got to know he's around here somewhere. And there's going to be an open wounds on Dread. Dread will end up dropping the cog. Solo is still stuck.
They don't see him.
They had to know. I guess they assumed he used his Vendetta to run away. But yeah, managing to make it away. And now he does use it, so no harm, no foul, I suppose. 28. This game, you know, it's 28 minutes in. It's a game that feels like it's been a lot longer just because of the sheer amount of action we've had. Taking a look at the tower report, we can see Tier 2 still standing for Dignitas in top and, excuse me, in bottom and mid. All three Tier 2s still up for RoX.KIS. So, very close game, but RoX.KIS continuing.
Oh, they don't have a gem in middle.
And Keeper of the Light blown up. Way too next on the list. Here comes the Prophet. He is going to be able to steal Carapace. That may have saved him. Here comes Dread. And Owie going to try to Blade Fury away. Tinker's going to be landing in courtesy of the boss. Here's Universe now engaging on the Solo. Laser gets a kill from long distance. Sonic Wave is there. Solo ends up dead. 2 for 1 the trade. And again, the action just continues to roll. Very aggressive play out of both teams. Universe, I'll tell you what's surprising about Universe. He's getting fairly built. You know, I haven't looked at the net worth lately. I figured he'd be near the top. He's actually at the top, ahead of even the Prophet and the Tinker. And really, as effective as he can feel, I feel like he should be feeling even more effective than he is.
But, I mean, even if he is on top of net worth right now, they have 2 sheeps now, and that is just really, really bad for them. So, Scythe of Vice complete on Tinker as well as Dangerous Prophet. So, his effectiveness is going to be mitigated greatly. Sure, he has an Aegis, but they can just kite him and kill all his teammates. Aoi has not been able to survive many of these fights. He is 2 and 4 right now, and he went like a very survivable build with Drums of Endurance and Agnum Scepter, so he has a ton of HP, but they just have too much damage, and with their global presence being able to be back in fights, even if you buy back, or even if you kill them, they can just buy back and TP back in. It's just really wearing Dignitas thin. They've gotten both Roshians right now, but they're definitely going to be in a hot position for this third one.
Ancient Stack being taken by BZZ, continuing to add to his copious pile of gold. And as you mentioned, having the Scythe of Ice up, taking a look at the Prophet, he's got his Scythe of Ice up. That's all on top of the Clockwork. Dread did decide to go ahead and finish a 4th staff, building the Staff of Wizardry into that. The Shadow Demon, just by his sheer kit, has plenty of answers for the Lifestealers, so Dignitas going to have to really maneuver themselves well to make sure they maximize the potential of this draft and this lineup. And they are going to go ahead and smoke. There's the Infest and the Queen of Pain looking to drop the Nyx Bomb on someone. And they're going to move right into the Radiant side jungle.
They really need this T1 tower down on bottom. This is just really problematic for them, and it really limits the space that Dignitas can move, and it just really opens up where RoX.KIS can go. And Solo is looking like he has a solo kill on Fog right now. Again, the Gem Bearer is not with them, unfortunately. Oh, they have a smoke on bottom, and he almost TP on the creep. Looks like he is going to TP on it right now, though.
And wow, blinked as soon as he landed. So he will be able... Nope, there's the Scythe of Ice. They're going to re-engage. Universe comes out. BCZ eating a lot of damage. Got bashed. There's the Omni Slash. Now the follow-up. They're going to be able to kill off one. Now, good hook. Might buy Prophet enough time, and it will. Great cogs. Dread bailing his buddy out where it mattered the most. There's a disruption. Solo canceled the impale that time. Now, actually, he canceled the mana burn. Now he's going to be able to kill off Owie. There's another Sprout that might be enough to get Prophet back to safety. Universe, though, is chopping wood, going to work on the enemy. Now eating a lot of damage with Rage on cooldown. Scythe of Ice is there. Chain Scythe because of rearm from the Tinker, taking him out of the fight. That's just the Aegis pop. Now he's going to re-engage. Going to work, another fortuitous bash, but a great disruption from Vanscore. It will be enough to keep him alive, and now the Scythe showing itself again. Here's Solo, he's Mana Leak, way too sexy's there. It's a decent amount of damage. Solo will end up dying. So he does end up giving the gem back away. Universe, unstoppable, Nyx Assassin is bought back. Dignitas maintains their kill lead in an extended fight, 23-21. Way too, walking between raindrops here, has got less than 100 health, needs to get himself to safety.
Oh, looks like the Universe just got picked up when he got his TPs. Oh, watch him.
Here's gonna re-engage, he has the gem, another great bash, there's the Mana Leak. Ghost Scepter doesn't matter against Infest. And that's very important because Nyx had just bought back. So Nyx unable to buy back for 60 seconds, Dignitas able to protect the tier 3 top, Prophet was trying to split push. So, big wins all across the board. And we'll take a look.
And Tinker bought back too, and died. So, huge setback for him.
The gold beginning to tick downwards. The experience now well in favor of Dignitas. So this is where things have got to be feeling a little bit chancy. Again, you're doing well in terms of net worth, but the Lifestealer beginning to flex his muscles a bit, beginning to show with that Basher that oh, it's actually an Abyssal. Didn't even see that he had completed the Abyssal, so that would explain why he always had bashes when he needed them. But at any rate, with that, his ability to lock down heroes like Nyx and Tinker. But just look at the pure damage coming out here in mid. Dignitas has to back out completely.
I know, not being able to get this is a huge deal. I'm really surprised that that Tinker went on this Queen of Pain on the right side. Looks like I won't have time to talk about that, though.
Here we go. Universe goes for it. Going to rage onto the tower. Glyphs pop. Vanscore going to disrupt himself. And not really going to matter as he's cleaned up in just one shot. Now I think he got disruption. Pretty sure Rubik has it. Here comes another TP. Massive machines just blanketing the ground beneath the tier 1. BKB popped by sneaking. Tried to find some damage, unable to do so. Has Sonic Wave at the ready if he wants it. And we're going to hear, I heard somebody get scythed. That was Owie. So Owie is going to be hooked and scythed again. And he should be cleaned up. He'll be cogsed in, doing what he can. And he is going to use Omni Slash. Now he's going to have Blade Fury ready as well. And he gets a kill! Able to turn that around and get the kill solo. Finally cleans him up with Vendetta. But still, they lost another hero unnecessarily. There's a mana leak on Solo. Has a very full mana pool, so he does make it back to the high ground. 27 to 22. This action is not abating yet. Fogged. Stunned by Spy Carapace. Looks like they are finally going to give me a chance to catch my breath. But both teams just shooting from the hip.
Yeah, so much fighting going on there. Again, like this fight on bottom should never have happened. Like, he can't solo kill a Queen of Pain, and just putting themselves in that situation for that really long drawn-out fight with 2 buybacks and probably like 8 deaths on their team was just, I think, not a good decision on their part. And Dignitas is just frantically trying to get this tower, and Tinker being able to just rearm up this hill is just so problematic. They have a healing ward to try and deal with the constant double rocket spam and the clockwork spam, but it's just not enough at this point. Snaking looks like he wants to get a kill, but blinking the Martian Machines is not a good idea. He does not have the Aegis anymore, and Lifestealer does not have it either. Actually, Snaking never picked up the Aegis, but he will snipe that gem or that ward.
Sneaking just about half health, as you mentioned. Martian Machines hurts a little bit. And they're continuing. They're just trying to force something to happen here in mid. Trying to force maybe an overextension out of RoX.KIS, trying to catch someone napping. And there's a hook. They're just going to go for it. There's the Infest. He did get the cogs down. Oh, Dread. What happened? Now they're going to re-engage. Here's the Demonic Purge to slow down Universe. Owie charging up the hill. He's got Omni Slash back at the ready. And Universe is going to immediately rush the tier 1. Finally, that troublesome nuisance of a tier 1 tower drops. And Dignitas going to feel a little bit more free in terms of the map. 28 to 22. And we're beginning to see that lead whittled down a bit. It was up in excess of 4,000 gold at one point, now closer to 2,000. The experience, not even a remotely close. 12,000 going the way of Dignitas. Now the action's going to continue. There's another hook. We're going to see, there it is. Was looking for him on the mini-map, but he does manage to make it away.
Yeah, and I think they have the right idea in mind in terms of RoX.KIS' game plan. Okay, they're going to split push, try and force Dignitas to split up, and then pick them off. That's their game plan, and they've been trying to do that with Furion, putting a lot of pressure on these T3s. We see top T3 at 600 HP and bottom tower is taking some damage as well, but they're not executing it right. What they're doing is actually preventing the TP, but they're still 5 strong, and you can't fight them 5 strong when you're split pushing. So what they need to do is just wait for the TPs to actually go through, and then once they go through, then you can interrupt everyone, then you can hookshot pick them up, then you can blink sheep and blink impale and use demonic purge and all that good stuff once they actually split up, and then you can overpower them with 4-on-3, 5-on-3 fight. But they're not waiting for the TPs to go through. They're like, okay, sweet, we interrupted the TPs, and yeah, sure, we got a little bit of damage on the T3, a little gold in the way of the T2 towers, but still, Dignitas is winning these team fights just because they simply have more people there.
You can see now the tier 2 bottom's the target. Universe is going to eat the Scythe of Ice, and he's got to be careful. And yep, now there's a hook that was stolen by Rubik, able to bring him in. There's a real hook comes out. Sonic Wave does some damage. Dread now next on the target list. BKB is up on Queen of Pain. Solo trying to do what he can from the outside. He is going to use his Ghost Scepter and blink away. It's like they actually guessed wrong. So sneaking blink to the north while Solo had gone to the west. And
what a disrupt.
And here we go. Yep, there's a good force staff. Disruption's going to be there. And we're going to see him pursued up to the high ground. Spike Carapace buys some time using Mana Burn, but unable to bring down Sneaking. Now Mana Leak stuns him out. Scythe of Ice had him out of the fight again for a little while. They do take the tier 2 in the meantime, but while this is going on, Prophet continues to just whittle away at that top tower. And Fog got to be careful. He's very close to death. Almost died to the Shadow Poison stacks. So yeah, they need to get out of dodge right now.
Yeah, and wow, these defensive disrupts are just really awesome by with Shadow Demon. Solo looks like he's in trouble. We'll pop his Ghost Scepter though.
And yep, Ghost Scepter. Bonding some time. Impale's there. Now they're going to try to follow it up on the Universe. Demonic Push had him slowed. Now we've got Owie being chained. Scythe. Scream of Pain does a little bit of damage. Owie will be no! Oh, nope, never mind. Prophet was there in a position. He's doing good right-click damage. And just an utter cluster down on this bottom tower. Prophet with a Desolator complete. Hitting quite hard in terms of right-click. Another Scythe of Ice used on Universe. That should be enough to get... Nope, never mind. Armor Toggle, no way out. Locked in, no Quelling Blade. And continuing to heal up. And finally... one more right click brings him down. So RoX.KIS, just as it seemed like this game might be slipping away, fires back and fires back hard.
Yeah, finally they tried to take an engagement. They interrupted a TP on the look at this top tower. Furion just doing his job, doing a lot of work with the split push and splitting them up. And the further away from their base that Dignitas takes is just looking worse and worse for them with this constant spam from Tinker. He has 4,500 gold right now. I'm curious to see what his next item will be. Maybe a Ghost Scepter for the Nakes and the Jug. I don't think Lincoln's would be bad either, but these clutch defensive disrupts by Shadow Demon is really keeping them in the game. If he hadn't done that, they would have been almost guaranteed buyback on Tinker right there, as well as Nyx Assassin. So really good play by Fanscore.
Yeah, Fanscore has been by far the MVP of this game. And Prophet now, again, we talked about this, just how Prophet is played for the most part. Now it gets up something like a Shadow Blade, usually a key item like a Scythe or an Orchid. And now just building pure right click with the Desolator. He's hitting for 270, 280-ish damage each and every shot. His attack speed is quite high. And he's going to be a big liability now. And he hasn't even been coming to a lot of these fights is what's amazing. Or when he does come, he's coming late. Instead, putting pressure on that top tower as we see him trying to do now. Tinker's actually going to land in with him as well. And
yep. They're trying to draw away from the rush, but they didn't have enough damage to take it down. It looks like Owie did get stunned out, but this top tower's under a lot of pressure. It looks like way too sexy trying to defend, but he's alone.
Yep, way too gonna drop another gem. Universe is on its way over, so they'll at least be able to keep that thing in their inventory. Now they're gonna engage as a BKB. They want to catch a Prophet, and they do. Scythe of Ice, freshly completed on Queen of Pain, shown off and used. Buyback immediately out of the Prophet, and now they're gonna engage on the Solo. Carapace keeps him alive a little bit longer. Cogs go down. Dread, at least being a bit disruptive, hooks to his teammate, so he makes it to safety as well. And Solo throws out the Impale. While all this is going on, though, Tinker finds himself with an Aegis and the cheese going into the inventory of the Nature's Prophet. 41 minutes in, an absolute slugfest that's been back and forth since the word go. 5,000 gold the advantage for RoX.KIS, and we can see that Dignitas' experience lead beginning to not feel as effective. It's been cut down from 14,000 to 8,000.
RoX.KIS is just maneuvering this late game very, very well, putting pressure on all their towers, and yeah, sure, they got a kill on the Furion, and he bought back, but they got the Aegis and the G, so that's a very good trade for them. This T3 tower is down, and Furion is just continuously going to keep pressure on this, and they'll probably wait a little bit until he has buyback in 4 minutes, but he's very rich. 3,500 gold on him. We have Shiva's Guard completed on Tinker, and Dignitas really can't do much outside of their base right now. If they ever leave, this top lane is going to get pushed in, and then if they ever take a fight, Furion will just take a Rex. So they're kind of forced to look for kills, but there aren't that many opportunities unless RoX.KIS slips up at this point. The cheese was past the Nyx Assassin. And
the Rax now under very heavy assault. He's got a little bit of help to the south, but not a ton. So just gradually bringing that down. There's the BKB and the immediate engagement on the Solo. No! Ghost Scepter, there's a Scythe of Ice, but he has a haste rune. Sonic Wave misses. Shot it way too high. Shot it wide right. And Solo able to walk between the raindrops once again. And while all this is going on, Tinker continues to go just berserk on the map. Lifestealer has been eclipsed by the Prophet for some time in terms of pure net worth. And we're gonna see Tinker catching him very soon as well.
Yeah, and I mean they have Abyssal and they have Sheep, but now the items on RoX.KIS are really starting to kick in, especially with the rearm. It's just going to be ridiculous the amount of utility and control that BZZ will be able to provide in these upcoming team fights, provided he does not get bursted down instantly by Blink Sheep. But again, that's really up to BZZ to watch his positioning, as well as Vanscore for his clutch defensive disrupts that he's already proved to use a couple of times. Universe is almost max right now. He has Saint Yasha, Blink. Oh, let's see, Sheep on middle.
There we go. Counter Hex. Catch a good hook from Dread, but he did manage to steal. What did he get? He managed to get Teleport. And Universe just going to go for it, showing off his own Blink Dagger. He's going to be side device. This could be a decisive battle. Blinding Light helping keep Universe alive a little bit longer. Trying to get away. He will. Omni Slash in the meantime doing work. Now they're going to catch him up at the high ground. And BCZ going to have the Aegis pop. Great turnaround from Dignitas. They did end up losing the Lifestealer. Let's see if they have the damage and continue this fight. Fog threw out the Mana Leak. But with a full mana pool, Nyx does make it away. BZZ loses his Aegis, but manages to keep himself up and fighting. Way2 going to be the last man standing in mid, and he's trying to retreat. They will not be able to catch him. They do counter ward, at least in the meantime. And Sneaking actually found himself a kill up at top. Looks like he caught Prophet being a little bit greedy. However, top melee Rax is down.
You know, Way2 Sexy tries to get picked up by BZZ, but he gets Mana Leak to return, and he's almost dead.
Illuminate caught 3 cogs go down. No way to get past it, so they're going to be forced to take the end around. Nope, there's a Force Staff and a Blink. Can they catch Dread? Dread is going to hook to a teammate. The damage, one charge is not enough. Now Vanscore gets off the disruption, a little bit late on characteristic. He's been dead on the money all game. Owie is there, and wow, another big kill. That's 47 seconds he's down. And yeah, oh wow, now Way2 re-engage upon by Solo. Solo will get the kill, uses the Ghost Scepter, Illuminate. Up, actually shot wide. Carapace keeps him alive even longer. Solo has been an utter nuisance, just an unbelievable pain for Dignitas. They still can't kill him. Fogged is going to be able to at least body block him a bit. Now the Scream does a bit more damage. Owie continuing to pursue. Finally, the Omni Slash will be enough to bring him down. 82 seconds, he's off the map. This is an opening. Gem of True Sight dropped as well. 34-28, Dignitas. And again, but you look at the gold. You can see it was down, now it's back up. The experience beginning to tick downwards a bit, but Dignitas' lineup beginning to feel a lot more stable.
Yep, and they used Aegis and Cheese for that fight, so yeah, big turnaround for them. Tinker's still looking very nice, though. 4,400 gold in his bank. He's going to be 6 soon, too.
There's a Hex trying to keep this tower up. Don't think it's going to be an effort that's going to come to any fruition. Dignitas clears out the second to last, or next to last, hang on. Prophet once again would wager this is what happened when he died earlier. Trying to be cute, putting some pressure on and hanging around a little bit too long. So he ends up dying. He's gone for 86 seconds. Roshan will be back up in just about 5 minutes. Very important fight for both squads. And really, if there's any mistakes RoX.KIS has made, they just did not get anything of real value out of that Aegis and out of that Cheese.
Yeah, I think they really just need to draw Dignitas away from their base and just try and fight. Every time they fight, when it's like 5-on-5, they really just get crushed. But they really have the mobility and the lineup to just split Dignitas apart. If they split up 1-4 or 3-2, you can just own them with mass Sheeps and the mobility from their team. But 5-on-5 is not where their lineup lies. And if they take on another 5-on-5, they might just lose their mid-racks and it'll be even. But regardless, like right now, Way2 Sexy just being right up here. It's okay now that Furion is down, but if he's up, they always have to be feel threatened whenever they try and solo push out lanes.
Universe is absolutely monstrous. Level 25, basically a full inventory. He could drop the gem and buy one more big item if he wanted, but the armlet making him feel nigh invincible. There's the side device. Let's see if they want to follow it up. Owie eats some damage as well. There's a buyback from the Prophet. And Owie pursued out. Solo, though, locked down. There's a hook. And the Omni Slash doing good damage. Dread eating a lot of it. Disruption keeps him alive. Now they're going to re-engage. Universe just going to town. He has a lot of movement speed with Face and Sanch and Yasha. Able to zone them back out behind their own tower. Tier 3 drop. Sonic Wave catches the Tinker. There's a side device, though. Buys a bit of time. Illuminate clips him just barely, and Sneaking barely able to make it away. Now Solo wants to re-engage. He's going to find himself a kill, killing off the most important hero on the board in Dignitas' lineup. That's the Lifestealer. That forces a buyback out of him as well.
And Furion got the bottom Rex in the meantime, so wow, just big turnaround for them. And sure, they got a little bit out of it, but them being further away from the base just gives all the time in the world for these split pushers to just do their thing. And they're only sitting on one range Rex and one T3 and the set of Rex in the middle. So they just have to like constantly defend this. And maybe if they get the next Roshan, they can make an all-in for it. But the longer the game draws out, this is really where the mobility shines for RoX.KIS. And like, Dignitas doesn't really have the lineup to defend versus. They have Keeper that can do it, but again, any hero that just tries to solo defend, whether it be a Keeper or a Rubik or even Nyx or Queen of Pain at this point, you can just get picked up by the mass Sheeps, constant Sheeps, and the right click from Furion, as well as the Shiva's laser rocket from Tinker. That's enough to burst any of these heroes down, and as such, they're forced to defend this, and RoX.KIS can just grind them down constantly, and slowly but surely, they're getting these buildings in base.
49 minutes in, 65 kills on the board, 29 to 36. The gold, 5,000 in favor. And for RoX.KIS at this stage of the game, it's, you know, worth mentioning, but not the biggest gap in the world.
There's a smoke on top they're looking for Furion right now. If their smoke pops, he's in big trouble.
And they do manage to swing just south of him. But the experience of Dignitas, very much in their favor. However, as you mentioned, just the way these compositions work together, the fact that the map being what it is, especially with two lanes now missing racks, bottom completely wiped out, and top missing the melee racks. Map control, a luxury Dignitas simply does not have. They're going to be pushed the entire rest of the game. And that's even if they weren't up against a Tinker and a Prophet. Up against a Tinker and a Prophet, Prophet's ult, more than enough to help keep those lanes pushing. Tinker, certainly his mobility, the global presence on both, going to make it so hard for Dignitas to ever get across the river again.
Yep, and what RoX.KIS needs to do right now is just play defensive until they get buybacks and try to secure Roshan, and then maybe just make a final push with a 5-on-5 with that if they want to win this. In Dignitas, they just need to constantly pick off Furion. They've done a pretty good job about it so far, and he's bought back a couple of times, but again, if they do it one more time, I think it might be... Ooh, Solo. Where is he going?
Doesn't have a TP. That's why he had to run. He's looking to run for a TP. And that's a very good kill. Buyback now spent on him. Roshan will be back up in the next 60 seconds. So the timing on that death, not very good for Solo. Would want to have buyback if at all possible. Speaking of buyback, let's see who has it. The Lifestealer cannot, Prophet cannot, and of course the Nyx Assassin cannot. Tinker, Queen of Pain both have it, Juggernaut has it, Clockwork has it. On the side of Dignitas, the important thing about buyback is that so long as Fogg is able to keep himself alive and in a backwards position or in a less intense position, he'll be able to teleport someone who buys back right back into the fight. Now we're going to see them go ahead and try to engage here. Dread able to make it away, drops the cogs. Way2 runs into it, even under cover of Vendetta. And yeah, very wise call from Dread. Actually used Hook just to make sure he got away there.
Yep, and wow, Way2 stealing the Vendetta. I thought he was going to be able to pick up a kill with that, but looks like they will live. And Roshan is up now. Universe is whacking away on it already. Universe hitting very, very hard.
320, actually making like 338 damage, give or take. So it is going to be spotted by the rocket flare, but really no one in position to do anything about it. Roche is already so very low, trying to put more pressure on top.
Backdoor on middle.
And in mid, to tier 3. Oh, wow. Did manage to make it away. Blinding Light does not interrupt channels, including teleport. In the meantime, in mid, Dread looks to be caught out. And up. Almost made it away. Solo there with the impale, but Universe again, just barely feeling it. Now Tinker lands in, and they're going to go ahead and engage. This is huge. Absolutely huge. So, they do manage to bring down the Lifestealer.
He doesn't have buyback for 30 more seconds. He does have the gold for it, though. He does have the cheese. Looks like Aui's in big trouble in mid.
Aui will end up
Mass
cleaned up.
hexes.
The chain hexing out of Tinker. Just so hard for them to cope with. Illuminate can only do so much. A lot of creeps, and now the last tier 3. Juggernaut's going to be buying back to try to defend. trying desperately to keep some kind of building alive. BZZ being pursued out. The Aegis is on sneaking. Now they're going to catch BZZ. Very important kill if they can get it. BKB is used. He's feeling tanky. There's a good disruption. Buys him a little bit of time. And there was actually a mishex there. Someone hexed the creep. Not sure who it was, or I would imagine Tinker. Now we're going to have Prophet caught out. Sonic Wave is spent. He ends up dropping, so he's down for 90 seconds. Here comes Universe. As mentioned, he has the cheese. Sneaking gets Scythe of Ice, and there's a TP that will be successful. BZZ overstaying is welcome. Lincoln Sphere mitigates some damage, but only has one Scythe of Ice to use that time around. He will be telekinesed and cleaned up. That's a godlike double kill for Sneaking on the Queen of Pain. We're coming up on nearly an hour in this game, not showing any sign of abating. Solo's there to clean up the last remaining melee racks. Solo now being bursted down. Here comes Tinker again after the buyback, and now they're going to get the Aegis. They end up losing the Nyx in the meantime. And Waytu's there trying to chase him down. They will find him. Omni Slash is there, so they blow him up. No more buyback, but they're lacking. They only have one Rax remaining, and that's one ranged Rax here in mid. And as good of a win as that is, and as long as those heroes are down, don't think they have a chance to do much of anything. They're just too bottled up.
Now is the time, though. They don't have buybacks on Nature's Prophet or Tinker. This is going to be at least 80 seconds for them to fight. I mean, 4 on 5, but they don't have any split push either. Looks like Shadow Demon is desperately trying to push on top lane, but if now this is the opening they're looking for. This is the one time they can probably win this game, and if it goes on much longer, it's going to be. I mean, I really don't see the winning this if it goes to 65 plus, but regardless, looks like they're well positioned to take his Rax in the middle and maybe even thrown it.
Looks like they're going to go for it. Rax is naked. I'm with you. I think they got to push the throne. Tinker's down for 49 seconds. There's the Glyph. Need to be focusing on the buildings. Glyph wears off. Yeah, they're going right to the tier 4s.
It's a throne race. Nature's Prophet, TP in middle.
Prophet bringing down the last Rax. They get the tier 4s. Prophet's by himself, though. He's going to go quick. Tier 4 down on one side. Second tier 4 is going to drop. Glyphs are not available on either side. Dread trying to do what he can. They need to focus on the throne. Throne down here, just about 3/4 health. And they're ahead. Right now, they're a little bit ahead. The throne down to a corner. They're going to pull this off. They're going to be able to win by a throne race, and they get it. They did it. Dignitas, in a game that looked to have all but slipped from their fingers, manages to make it happen in the closing moments of this game and secure themselves an extreme come-from-behind win and punch their ticket out of the lower bracket and on to the grand finals here at the Curse Invitational. Oh, wow, what a phenomenal conclusion. I think you called it 100% right, man. It was getting the Rax there was not going to be enough. It simply wasn't. They had to push for the throne and just went for it right off the bat. Furion trying to outpush the whole of Dignitas. He came close, but not close enough. 55 minutes the official game time. 32-42 the final kill score. And RoX.KIS, who had the game all but in the bag, has game 2 slipped through their fingers as Dignitas advances 2-0. Final thoughts on the game, Merlini?
It's never too late to throw. Just want to throw that out there. They were up by so much. They had tough Rax and just complete map control, mass hex, just Aegis cheese, just so many things going for them. But or actually, did they have? I don't even know what happened. But they had such a ridiculous item advantage, gold advantage, map control, everything, and they just like threw it all away. Furion died so many times, had to buy back, and oh my goodness, I would just be very, very sad had I been in their position. But regardless, very good choice by Dignitas to just skip by the Rax and just go for the throne. I think if they gone for Rax, they definitely would have lost to the throne race. But that was an exciting end to a very well played game by both teams.
Phenomenal.